And welcome back, our viewers, continuing at your show, Timeless Journey. And now for the second segment with our dear guest, Umar Al Khadari. As a teacher, he is as supervisor in English language. Is it, as we mentioned from before, that it is one of the most important languages that a person can see and can, let's say, a skills that a person should, let's say, master. Welcome back, Mr. Umar Al Khadari.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. I'm enjoying this actually. I don't want to go home.
We are actually enjoying it, and but there is a certain time frame that we are under it, so we'll try to cover the most
Hopefully.
controversial topics, the most important topic that a person, let's say, should cover
Hmm.
while we're doing it, you know,
Of
in a
course.
fun way.
Hope.
So, as we're now talking about the technology in education,
Hmm.
tell us about your experience creating educational content in social media. Have social networks benefited your approach as a teacher?
Okay, but as I said earlier, the power of word is really influential. It started back then in 2014.
Yeah,
I was nominated by my godmother. She was a senior supervisor, Huda Al-Ammar.
yeah.
Greetings to her. Uh,
All greets
so
and
she,
shout out to her. Yeah.
yeah, so she nominated me to be a presenter on a Tarbawiya channel that is related to Ministry of Education. It was uh, broadcast on TV. So, and then I presented English program for a whole year. It felt
MashaAllah.
very igniting and I was really touched. As soon as it finished, I felt hollow. So I wanted to speak and seek larger audience. That's when I started creating my social media, Instagram English Omar, and I started to reach a larger audience and help them
Hmm.
learn English in um, a very, say, edutaining way, that is
Yeah,
fun way, and with the most trending methods and techniques of English.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now going to other segment, which is training and professional development. As an instructional supervisor, how do you work on improving teacher skills?
Teacher skills.
How can you help them on improving their skills as supervisor? Because a lot of people needs to be improve their skills as a teacher to how to reach to
Mhm.
the students. Some of them don't have that. Some of them don't how, let's say, to connect with the students directly.
Okay, so of course, to start with, we're talking about professional development. It's a
Exactly.
constant development, and actually, teachers, my dear colleagues and brothers and sisters, of course, we're talking about male and female teachers. Uh, I have a message for you. Our educational field is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Hmm.
It's
Exactly.
about the last person standing. So please don't exert a lot of effort at the beginning and then lose faith in the system and then feel unappreciated by your admins, and then you would just have a fall down. So
Yeah.
try to preserve your energy. Through professional development, we would go for meetings, seminars, training courses, and of course listen to teachers and actually explain the big picture and why we're heading to the objectives of the Ministry of Education.
Okay. Can you tell us about your role in TASOL Kuwait conference and your experience as a keynote speaker?
Yes, actually, TESOL is a nonprofit organization that
Yeah.
was established in Kuwait with collaboration with Gust University and Erb University. I was chairman for public relation for 2 years,
MashaAllah.
and I had the chance to moderate and be the, the presenter of the conference. And we had from the U.S. Embassy and British Embassy attaches and cultural affairs and the Dean of Gust. Actually, it was amazing because we hosted and received and invited actually academic people from worldwide, from Europe, from America, and
Congratulations on that.
yeah, thank
I
you.
mean, our viewers, we don't have an ordinary teacher here at our show today. I mean, mashallah, clearly you have such a remarkable experience from creating content on social media, from being a keynote speaker in a huge conferences in Kuwait. And that actually reflects the amount of experience that you have on such a great field and achievements that you're having. Congratulations on that, Mr. Omar.
Uh, Thank you so much.
So, going to the other segments for today, achievements in writing. Can you tell us about? You wrote a screenplay for a short film titled "Dreams" in both English and Arabic. How was that experience with you? Did it help with your contribute, like with
Yes,
experience?
yes. I
Yeah,
actually I kept telling myself, and I tell sometimes my dear people,
yeah,
there are times when you need to listen to the world, and there are times when you need the world to listen to you. So I had this momentum where I wanted to speak out my humble experience, the things that I learned, and I raised some controversial issues and societal and humanitarian issues and problems, and I suggested solutions in the novel that I wrote, and I wrote it in two versions, Arabic and English. And I had this idea. One of my friends is a director, and he was like, "Why not make it a screenplay for a feature film, a long film?" And I liked the idea, so I'm done in the process of
Yeah,
writing, and I'm in process of publishing hopefully anytime soon. And of
mashallah.
course, I encourage a lot of people to try and express yourself, whether in writing or any kind of
Or
art and
drawing or
educate.
anything that you can do.
Just be
Yeah,
expressive, speak to the world.
that's actually really healthy. Therapeutic. I think it's really healthy for a lot of people. And thank you for mentioning that. For our viewers, you took the notes. Now try to now try to do it. So, of course, how do you see the role of writing enhancing English skills?
Actually, writing is kind of the underdog amongst the four skills because
Yeah,
we have listening, speaking, reading, writing. Because in our curriculum, and hopefully we'll speak about that in the future,
yeah,
we have four skills. So we need to assess them. We need to help students master them.
yeah.
But writing actually is kind of neglected because a lot of people think that we need to speak. So writing is not really essential. So we
Mm-hmm.
try to, come up with tasks that make people actually, or students and teachers, improve their writing skills.
Which is really actually important. I've been developing my um vision skills. I was developing like my speaking skills. But when it
Nice.
comes to writing, we need to do it.
Yeah.
And believe me, it is really important, especially that we're actually now depending more into technology. There is something to assess and to help us how to spell, let's say, and write, and to, let's say, help us on these skills.
Of course.
So, to training courses and certifications, you've obtained several certifications in English language teaching, mashallah, such as the PCELT, the IVLP. How do these certifications help you in supervising other teachers?
Well, thankfully, I thank the Ministry of Education for providing such opportunity for me to join the PSELT. PSELT,
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
actually, it's under the umbrella of the Worldwide Institute, and with the help and the bliss actually of the U.S. Embassy, we had them sponsored. It's an international license for teachers, PSELT. It's a 120 training
Yeah.
course. It was an amazing experience. We had to uh, learn and then teach and be in the shoes of the students. So it helped me, as I said,
Yeah.
being from different perspectives. So now I understand what the student feels
Yeah.
because I was the student one time. So of
Hmm.
course, after I mastered and actually passed the PSL training course, I had to transfer my experience with
Yeah.
meetings and seminars and workshops to our schools to exchange information. And the IVLP is International Visitor Leadership. We had the chance to, thanks to the US Embassy, we had the chance to travel to the US. We stayed there for 40 days almost. We
Hmm.
visited, say, 5 different states, 10 schools, 10 colleges. We've been to Harvard, MIT. We learned about the education system in
Yeah.
the US. We've seen some similarities and differences. So we brought a lot of things. We adopt what's suitable for us, and what's not we don't take, and we amend what we have, so we come up with this formulated suitable for our
Hmm.
culture education curriculum.
So, how did your participation in the International Visitor Leadership Program broaden your educational perspective?
Yeah, actually, as I said,
You
when we
just mentioned it,
visited,
yeah.
yeah, but I can go through details. I was just
Yeah.
touching on them. So after visiting 10 schools and 10 colleges, we sat with teachers and professors, and we've been through classes. I've seen American students varying different ages. I've been to classes. Abdul Latif, imagine going to a class and seeing a lot of artistic work. And this female teacher was playing music in the English class, and she was teaching at the same time. I felt like I was in a coffee shop. The environment was very appealing. Everyone was happy, no stress, nothing forceful. Everything is spontaneous and natural,
The way you've
and
been
learning is
describing it, yeah.
happiness. Actually, learning is happening,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So I love that. don't have these restraints. You feel like you shackled up. You cannot be autonomous. They're all
Mhm.
autonomous. Having, I mean, by autonomous is the teacher feels free to teach in the best way to achieve
Exactly.
objectives.
The way you've been describing it, actually, I think it's really let's say comfortable. How to put music in the background, how to put let's say the right environment for the students, so they can have the healthy environment for them to be taught and to be transferred, accepting these skills from the teachers. It is really remarkable.
Yeah.
So going to the future of education, it is really important. How do you see the future of English language education in Kuwait?
Abdullah, I forgot to state something. Everything I say, I'm going to say, and I have said,
Yeah,
I'm only responsible for myself. I don't speak on behalf of
exactly.
the Ministry of Education. Of course, I am.
Yeah.
This is my point of view. So when we
Thank you
talk
for
about,
mentioning that. It's
of,
really important. Yeah.
of course, so we're talking about the future of education.
Yeah.
In my
From your
humble,
perspective, yeah.
of course, in my humble perspective and point of view, we need to understand what's going on in the world. When we talk about educational institutions, we have the UNESCO, we have the World Bank, and we have the IDA, and we have the OECD. OECD is responsible for the PISA testing, and IDA is responsible for the TIMSS testing.
Mhm.
Happens every 3 years, every 4 years. And thankfully, Kuwait is always contributing with these organizations, actually, and we help countries who are developing, and also we assess our students. So actually, we contribute with these tests. Both organizations, they were founded back in 1960, and ever since, they help develop our curriculum. They help assess the teaching and the education system in Kuwait. Let's say in our history, if I want to give my judgment, I need to understand the history of Kuwait along with these uh, professional, let's say, organizations. They suggested many curriculums. We dealt with in the 70s from regional um, academic help.
Mhm.
So we came up with our own curriculum.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, 90s, and 200, we had a collaboration with Oxford, Cambridge,
MashaAllah.
Longman, Pearson, Macmillan. They all helped us form
Yeah.
our educational system. So until 2015, with the help of the World Bank, we came up with a competence-based curriculum, and this is a reform of a national curriculum. So you take from everywhere, but again, you need to bear in mind you have a cultural aspect of yours you need to
Yes, you
bear.
need to bear.
So I
Yeah,
cannot just
exactly.
bring something from outside
And
that
take it as,
contradicts with
yeah.
my culture.
Hmm.
So this what happened. The Ministry of Education, the state of Kuwait, they took aspects that
Hmm.
are good and they formed their own eclectic educational system or approach. We've seen actually some milestones.
Hmm.
Our vision, the UAE vision is 2021, Saudi Arabia is 2030, Kuwait is 2035. This is
Yeah,
the vision of Kuwait, going digital, all digital. So all the countries achieved theirs. Actually, we're going forward, but we need to be patient. We cannot have instant results. We need to wait. We have to be
exactly. We
patient.
need to
So
take it safe, and we need to take it in a remarkable manner where we can, let's say, have it an ensured and guaranteed result with a 100%
yeah.
safe results also. So what about as an active member of TESOL International Association? What is the value of this international engagement that you have
Okay, so TESOL International is the mother of all TESOL in Kuwait, in the
in
countries,
the,
in
yeah,
the worldwide,
yeah,
and we had TESOL Kuwait, and actually we've been in collaboration with them, which
yeah.
is really impressive. I had the chance to go to Florida, Tampa, and I attended there. I'm an
Oh,
active member. I met the president. I met a lot of people. Actually, I attended many seminars and workshops, and I met a lot of people from different parts of the world. And what's nice about that, Abdul Latif, is that you sit with people and you exchange experiences from different perspectives, and they have their own societies, their own cultures, their own problems. And then when we share, I was like an ambassador for Kuwait. So I went through whatever we were going through. I received some, let's say, pieces of advice, and I exchanged some back. And then I collected all the humble experience that I had. Then I went to schools in the Ministry
yeah.
of Kuwait, and I shared that with my fellow colleagues, fellow teachers.
Now going to the second part of the, let's say, of the whole question that we're having. Now we concluded the first part, so now we'd like to learn more about your professional role in the field of English education. How do you diverse and experience that have contributed to the development, let's say, to development throughout the following question, going to the student assessment. What are the best methods for assessing students' proficiency in English?
Okay, so thankfully, as I said, in 2015,
Yeah.
we've adopted the competency based curriculum, which relies on a student centered approach.
Yeah.
A teacher is a facilitator, the student does all the work, and I help. Uh, we actually cater for the higher levels of thinking. We're talking about critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving. We prepare them to be better citizens
Yeah.
in our country. Because, skills, they last, but content memorization would go away.
Exactly.
Because their study, Abdul Latif, it says most of the students who graduate from school, I'm talking about grade 12,
Yeah.
they tend to forget 50 to 70% of the knowledge that they gained. I'm talking about information. But when it comes to skills, they last. So,
That's actually runs for a lot of people that we know, even personally, that unfortunately 50 to 70% from what they study, because mostly they actually tend to work in another field from what they graduated at. That's, let's say, from percentage. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to answer actually directly. We have two different types of assessment. We have formative and summative.
Yeah.
Formative is an ongoing assessment. We assess the four skills, like on a daily basis until the last of the semester. But when we're talking about summative, we're talking about standardized tests
Hmm.
at the end of the semester, at the end of the year.
Okay. How can students' performance be improved in the four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing?
How can they?
How can they, let's say, improve their performances in these four skills?
Okay, so basically, we're dealing with several different skills,
Yeah.
and our curriculum, national curriculum, the KNCC, is based on improving and practicing the
These
skills.
four skills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, we can do them actually in class and outside the class. In class, we're only dealing with, uh, let's say, reading, listening, writing, and speaking. But unfortunately, this is not enough
Yeah.
for them, so we have to give them extracurricular activities. They had to listen outside the school. They had to write, speak, and read outside the school. I always
Extra
compare.
practicing.
Yes, because
Okay.
if you compare private schools and public schools, private schools, they have the opportunity to practice English all day with all the subjects. That's why
Exactly.
they're better speakers than public schools. But
All
in
the
pub,
subjects. Yeah, you're actually right about
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
so you have a larger exposure, but in public schools they don't have this kind of exposure.
Mm.
That's why we tend to have the direct method, that is speaking in the native source language, English only. Arabic is not allowed in the class because they only get 40 minutes, if they're lucky, to have the exposure of English. So to answer your question, we go through techniques, we give tasks for each skill. I can go on, but I think this is
Yeah,
a
they can
general.
practice it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can
yeah,
practice it maybe at home from these
of
skills.
course.
So, what about the importance of early English education? I noticed that before the interview, you said, I believe there's some of the aspects that I need to focus at, and we have this one. In your opinion, when should children begin learning English? And that's really important, so I can improve it in my house. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to start with the statement of John Locke. John
Okay.
Locke, he's an English philosopher. He came up with a terminology that is tabula rasa. This is a Latin word,
Tabula rasa.
tabula rasa.
Yeah.
This is a Latin word for blank slate. And it was like in 1689, 1689, at that time, he
Okay.
came up with the aspect of the blank slate. He says that all human beings, they're born with blank slate, tabula rasa, and then with experiences and their senses,
It can be filled.
it can be carved on exactly.
Carved on. Yeah.
And because we're talking about early ages, starting from 3 to 7 year olds, this is the phase of language acquisition. And there's a big difference between language acquisition and language learning. Language acquisition happens subconsciously. Your clean slate in the brain is really empty, so you can easily carve on it. And then we move on to 8 year olds and 12. They're kind of left the area of language acquisition, they start to learn English, but they can learn systematically, so they can memorize and learn. They don't have a problem much with pronunciation and attaining the native accent. If you want a student to be native like accent, you would go with from 3 to 7 years old.
Yeah.
If you go to adolescents, we're talking about from 12 to 18 years.
So
That's
it's
it.
phases. It's like phases.
Of course.
Parents needs to focus at this so they can help their students. Yeah, and their kids and sons. Yeah.
Of course. So from 12, Abdulatif, to 18, you no longer can acquire a language. You're
Really?
taught. Yeah, you're taught. That's why it's difficult for older
So it's,
learners.
so it's really late for me to learn some Japanese.
No, actually, I
I
have some good
wanna learn.
news.
I wanna learn some of it. Yeah.
I have some, well, you can eat sushi if you wish, but I have some good news for you. From 12 to 18, you no longer can acquire a
Yeah.
language. You would have probably some problems with attaining the native like accent
Yeah.
and pronunciation because of the formation of the muscles of the tongue and your brain is filled. But kids, they have extrinsic motivation,
Hmm.
which means they can be motivated from outside money, candies, games, etc. They can study. When you go to adolescents, 12 from 18 years old, they have two motivations: extrinsic from outside,
Oh yeah.
because they
Hmm.
get rewards, etc.,
Okay.
and intrinsic from inside. Now they can understand the meaning of having goals in life, having a future. I want to be like that. I want to be like this. I need to work on. So it's like a car with a super engine and a car with no super engine.
Yeah. Maybe one
So
turbo. Yeah.
in here, you have the pros of carving tabula rasa, the
Y-
blank slate. You can
Yeah.
easily memorize, but you cannot deal with systems at higher level of thinking. In the adolescents, they don't have this, but they have two different motivations, so
Yeah.
they can work. So you can do Japanese, I think, easily.
Yeah. Okay.
Won't be an issue.
Thank you for that. You scared me for a bit. So, let's say, how can we encourage the students? How can we encourage to love English from an early age? Because if it's early from them, and as you mentioned, like
Yeah.
if they're like uh, like let's say they have a blank, okay,
Mm.
now we can curve on it.
Mhm.
How can I encourage them to love, to help me and support, and so I can support them to learn this language?
I need to shake your hand, actually. This is $1 million question.
Thank you. The
If
$1 million question to our producer, Bushra. Yeah,
she
yeah,
deserves more,
she
actually.
did. Yeah, yeah.
uh, if we can get that answer, I think it's gonna solve all the problems. That
Please tell
is,
us you have the answer for that.
I'll try my best.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're talking about planting potential, planting a seed of love for learning. How can I take a kid and make that kid love something?
Okay.
I think you need Freud to come out from his tomb and help us. But let's try something. I would always go for gamification. That is relying on games.
Okay, that's happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
gamification.
Gamification is called. Okay.
Edutainment, make education entertaining.
One more time.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is the name of my academy and my social media.
Mm.
Edutain. So yeah,
Thank you
you
for
make it
mentioning.
fun.
Yeah.
You make it fun. You go for active learning. Active learning is make them practice. They're at the center. You try to elevate higher level of thinking. They need to practice in a kinesthetic way. I can make them love it if I can convince them and turn it into their life. This is your daily routine. What do you
So
like?
now they will be convinced more to let's say not only love it, to be convinced more to learn it.
That's that exactly, Abdullah. That's why I said learning should be for life, not for passing tests. If they understand that learning is part of their life, their interests, what they like video games, they like cartoons, they like going out, I try to insinuate learning within whatever they're involved in.
Yeah.
So they would learn subconsciously in a very implicit way, not explicit.
Hmm.
So I would
Exactly.
go, we call it induction
Hmm.
versus deduction. Deduction is when you bring rules and please learn this formula, chemical
Yeah. Yeah.
formula. No, I would give you examples
Yeah.
from context on a daily basis of your life, and you feel attached to them, and you would find yourself learning in a very fun way, just like the bicycle example. I hope that this
I,
answers the
I,
question.
it's actually really helping, and I can take my whole life as example for it. When I learned from 8 to 10 years, from 8 to like 14 years old, when I started to learn English. Before that, it wasn't that too much into my life. There was no like video games that was too much in English. We were like not playing as a all the time for our lives. We would mostly riding bicycles, playing football outside, getting hurt many times every day.
Can I tell you a 5 second
Yeah,
secret?
yeah,
Back when I was young,
yeah,
back when I was young,
yeah.
I loved English music. I'm talking about the 90s. So because I liked that band, it was really motivating for me to learn English. And I was a young kid. And I imagine if I learned this language, I can travel there and I can meet them.
And you can understand them. You can let's say contact with them. Yeah, exactly.
So this is a way of creating or making kids and young students
Yeah.
make love language actually by
Try to
attaching.
plant the motivation inside their hearts to learn the certain skills, not only in English. I mean, I can transfer the whole interview with Mr. Omar Khadari, and I can channel it into every subject. And that's
Yes.
actually something really remarkable for that. I mean, whatever I wanted to achieve for myself in regard any other language, I can take the experience that I'm having for you and learn from me as a person who are, let's say, close to 30 years old. Okay. So now going um, to the curriculum.
Curriculum.
Okay, curriculum. I'm sorry
Mm.
about that.
No, it's fine.
What is your opinion on the current English language curriculum? Do you think it is sufficient and appropriate?
Okay. Of course, when we say curriculum, we refer to the approaches, the methods, everything is related to help complete the education system and the learning process. Not only syllabus, not only textbook. When we come to the curriculum or education, I always go to the ranking of the World Bank, the top 10 countries. We're talking about China, Singapore, Estonia. We're talking about Japan. We're talking about Ireland and Poland. These countries actually started somewhere at point,
Yeah,
okay, to develop their countries by adopting curriculum that is based on skills and competencies. Actually, some people incubate their harsh on our curriculum or curricula. Why? Because they don't understand the history. We only started now at early ages compared to the other countries. They've been through
yeah,
a lot. One of the best learning countries is Finland. Finland, by the way, we adopted the competency based curriculum from Finland. But Finland, before adopting that, they were kind of they had some lower ranking order by
yeah,
the World Bank.
yeah.
So we're developing. I believe that we need to match our approach, methods, and technique with our summative examination because they're kind of they don't match
Yeah.
much. We're not using the
Mm.
CEFR, the surf, the surf, surfer CEFR. We're not using the international standard benchmarks. We're kind of having
So
a hybrid of all of them.
I'm real sorry, Mr. Amar. I think we're out of time on regard of today's episode. Inshallah, in the future we can have you for more and more, and we can go for further in the questions that we have. We didn't feel the time. Unfortunately, we're out of it, and maybe for the next time. So thank you for being here with us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
The
Thank you so much.
pleasure. The
I had a great time. Another
thank you,
shake.
thank you. It is really important.
Hopefully, it won't be the last time.
Inshallah,
Inshallah.
and the pleasure for having you is ours, and for your viewers. We would see you for the next time for more timeless journeys. Stay tuned and goodbye for now.